Good morning, students. Myself, Miss Rupal Desai from Srimati LP Savani Vidya Bhavan. Today we will start the lesson My Childhood. Before to start the lesson, I just wanted to give you the summary of the lesson. My Childhood deals with the famous biography Wings of Fire of the celebrated Indian APJ Abdul Kalam. My childhood refers to a section in this book. This section or a chapter talks about the early days of Kalam. The chapter gives us an idea of how the childhood of APJ Kalam prepared him to become a successful scientist and president in the future. Much has to do with his upbringing, which Kalam discusses in his section from Wings of Fire. Kalam tells us about his parents and siblings here. He also mentions the important role of his friends in his life. In short, one can say that in my childhood, Kalam mentions everything that had an impact on his life. These things shaped him into the successful man he became in the future. Now students, we will start the lesson with the paragraph number 1. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father Jainulabdin had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyamma. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So students, here Kalam says that he was born into the middle class Tamil family and his place of birth is Rameshwaram, which is an island town in the state of Tamil Nadu in the Bay of Bengal. Today, we know this state as Tamil Nadu, but when he was born at that time, the state was known as Madras. APJ Kalam's father's name was Jainulabdin. Kalam says that his father was not very rich. Even he did not have wealth. He was not highly educated, but despite these disadvantages, he had some other qualities too. He was naturally very wise and was generous too. APJ's mother's name was Ashiyamma. She used to help his father in his work. She was a great support and help to him. Kalam's mother was also generous and kind-hearted. Every day she used to feed a lot of people. She fed a greater number of people from outside than the total number of the members in their family. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, and clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So, in the above paragraph, Kalam says that he had many siblings, and he describes himself that he had short height and common looks. He did not have any exceptional looks. On the contrary, his parents were very tall and handsome. They were good looking. APJ did not inherit their physical qualities. Kalam's ancestral house was very old. It was built in the 19th century. It was a Pakka house which was made up of bricks and limestones. It is located on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. Kalam's father was very simple, but he was strict too. He wanted to live his life in a simple way, and he used to teach his children not to waste money on unnecessary things. Kalam says that his father used to avoid any kind of inessential comforts and luxuries because he wanted to give his best to his children. He provided them all the necessary things like food, clothes, and medicines. Kalam says that his parents fulfilled all his needs, whether it was an ordinary thing or their love and affection. This shows that he has the quality of gratitude. Kalam is thankful to his parents for whatever they did for him. In the third para, the Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Moss Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me the stories about the war which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally, I filled the slot. I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. In the above paragraph, Kalam was when he was 8 years old, and during the Second World War was broke in the year 1939. So we can calculate it that he was born in the year 1931. The demand for tamarind seeds increased in the market. APJ used to collect and sell the tamarind seeds to a provision shop located on Moss Street. He would earn a mere sum of 1 anna, which equals 6 paisa. When he addresses it is as princely sum, means something very great and valuable. He is being ironic as the amount was very meager. At that time, this 1 anna meant a lot of money to him. Kalam's brother-in-law Jalaluddin used to tell him the stories of the ongoing World War. Later, APJ used to read the newspaper Dinamani and used to look for the news of the same stories. Rameshwaram was a small island town far away from land, so it was not affected by the World War in the beginning. But after some time, India had to join the war and combine with the Allied forces. Then a state of emergency was declared in the country. The first impact of World War II on the people of Rameshwaram was the cancellation of the train stoppage at the Rameshwaram station. Earlier, the train which came from India used to stop at Rameshwaram station and then went further to Dhanushkodi. But now, the halt was cancelled and the train went from India to Dhanushkodi without stopping at Rameshwaram. With this, the newspaper bundle which used to come to Rameshwaram was thrown out of the moving train as it reached Rameshwaram road. Kalam's cousin Samsuddin used to distribute the newspapers in Rameshwaram as the train stoppage was cancelled and the newspaper bundle was thrown out of the moving train. He needed someone to help him to catch it. So Kalam helped Samsuddin by catching the bundle and distributing the newspapers. In return, Samsuddin paid him a salary which was APJ's first earning. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain ways by figure of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness. I had 3 close friends in my childhood, Ramdan Sastri, Arvindan and Shiv Prakashan. All these boys were from orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramdan Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Later, he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Student, in the above paragraph, the Kalam says, for a child, the figure of authority is his parents and the next figure of authority can be his teacher. A person who has authority over the child. APJ is saying that whenever a child is born, he has some qualities which he acquires from the elders of his family. This depends upon the social status of the family and the environment at home. From his father, he inherited honesty and self-discipline, and from his mother, he inherited faith and goodness and deep kindness. His siblings also inherited these qualities from their parents. Kalams had 3 best friends during his childhood. Their names are Ramnath Sastri, Arvindan, and Shiv Prakashan. All of them belonged to very strict Hindu Brahmin families and were followers of the religions. As APJ was from a Muslim family, he says that during his childhood, all the children were so close to each other that they never felt that they belonged to different religions. Religion was not a barrier in their friendship. There is a very famous temple in Rameshwaram, that is Rameshwar temple. Kalam's best friend Ramnath Sastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, who was the priest in this temple. When these 3 friends grew up, Ramdan Sastri took the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple and Arvindan started a business for transporting the pilgrims and from the Rameshwaram temple, and Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor. Paragraph number 5. In the paragraph number 5, this Kalam says that whenever Sri Sita Ram Kalyanam ceremony used to take place, Kalam's family also took part in it. They used to arrange the boats for it. They used to make a special platform on the boats on which the statue of Ram and Sita were placed and transported from the temple to the marriage site, which was in the middle of the pond, which named Ram Tirth. This pond was near APJ's house. When he was growing up, he never thought that there was any difference between Hindus and Muslims, as they participated in the Hindu festivals wholeheartedly. APJ says that they listened to the stories from the Ramayana and the life of the Prophet from their mother and grandmother as bedtime stories. So, they listened to stories of both Hindu gods and Muslim gods. There was no differentiation on grounds of religion. Paragraph 6. One day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as Muslim. and I always sat in the front row next to Ramdas Sastri, who wrote The Sacred Thread. The new teacher could not stomach at Hindu's priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw, it was not digested for her, and she asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramnath Sastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Sastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Sastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So, in above paragraph, Kalam says that when he belonged to the Muslim family, so he used to wear a cap on his head, which identified him as a Muslim. His friend Ramnath Sastri, who was the son of the priest, belonged to a Hindu Brahmin family and used to wear a sacred thread worn by Brahmins. When these children were in the class 5, a new teacher came to their class. Kalam recalls an incident which happened then. The new teacher could not tolerate that a Hindu priest's son was sitting next to a Muslim boy. He told Kalam to go and sit on the last bench as he belonged to a lower rank of the society. Both the children felt very bad. When Kalam changed his seat and went back and sat on the last bench, Ramdan felt very bad. Kalam still remembers the image of his friend Ramdan crying. It left a lifelong impression on Kalam of his friend's feeling for him. Both children went home and told their parents about the incident, and his father Lakshmana Sastri called the teacher and scolded him. He told him not to kill the children's friendship by putting the poisonous discrimination of caste and religious into their innocent mind. Lakshmana Sastri was very clear in himself. He told the teacher, either you ask sorry for the wrong you have done or else leave the school. The teacher asked sorry for the mistake he had done, and due to Lakshmana Sastri's determination, his thoughts about religion and caste really changed. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Siva Subramaniam Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. In the above paragraph, the division of society into 4 groups it describes Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras was strictly followed in Rameshwaram. Kalam's science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was a religious person, an orthodox Brahmin, but was a rebellious type of person. He did not believe in distinction on the basis of the caste system. He worked very hard to break these social barriers. He wanted that people of different castes should interact with each other. He encouraged Kalam to work hard so that he could be at the same level as the highly educated people who lived in big cities. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Siva Subramanya Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decided to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. When I was visited his house the next week, Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So, Iyer's wife belonged to a traditional and orthodox Brahmin family. She followed the religion very strictly and to keep the kitchen pure. No one from an inferior religion was allowed to enter the kitchen. When Subramaniam Iyer called APJ Kalam for the dinner at his house, his wife feared that a boy from the Muslim family would make her kitchen impure. She refused to serve him food in her kitchen. Iyer was neither upset nor angry. He himself served food to Kalam and sat down beside him to eat. His wife stood beside the kitchen door and looked at Kalam while he was having food. Kalam says that he doesn't think that she felt there was any difference in the way he was having his food or the way he was drinking water, in the way he cleaned the floor. He wants to highlight that religion does not matter as it does not alter the way in which a person eats food. When Kalam was about to leave his house, he invited him for the dinner once again. When Subramaniam Iyer saw that Kalam hesitates, he asked him not to be upset and added that if he had decided to change the system to go against the norms of the society, he had to be strong and brave and confront the situation. When he visited Iyer's home for dinner the next week, his wife made him sit in the house in the kitchen and served him food with her own hands. This is the change that happens. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramnathpuram. So, in the above paragraph, Kalam asked his father, during the Second World War got over in the year 1945, India was about to get freedom, which happened in the year 1947. Mohandas Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, known as the father of the nation, was a crucial part of India's freedom struggle. He said that Indians would build their own India. The entire country was filled with hope and happiness. Everyone was experiencing such a feeling which they had never felt before. Everyone was hoping that now they would get their freedom. So Kalam asked his father to allow him to go to Ramnathpuram, which was the district headquarters for higher studies. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abdul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. for they have their own thoughts. So, after this war, Kalam asked his father to allow him to go to Ramnathpuram, which was the district headquarters for higher studies. In reply, his father told him that he knew that Kalam needed to go away so that he could move ahead in life. He gave the example of a seagull which flies away in the sky all alone and does not have a nest. It means it does not have a home of its own as it keeps on flying from one place to another. When Kalam's mother came to know that he was about to leave home and wanted to go to Ramnathpuram for higher studies, she got upset. So Kalam's father tried to calm her down and told her a few lines from a famous poem titled Your Children, written by Khalil Gibran. He said that your children are not your children, they are the children of life. Don't think that you can rule your children. They are the result of life's desire for itself. They have their own thoughts. He asked her to give them freedom to fulfill their thoughts. So, students, concluding the lesson at the end, I just wanted to say that the theme of this lesson, my childhood, is that our life is shaped by our experiences and the people around us. Kalam's secure childhood, inspiring parents, supportive friends, and honest teacher instilled great values in him that gave him wings of fire. Thank you.